Welcome to It Is What It Is. I'm Shaw Marie. How's everybody been? I've missed you all. Today is kind of like a what grinds my gears episode. And recently my family has gone through something like I never personally in my blood related family ever thought I would go through. I went through it previously this year with my goddaughter, and even that was traumatic, and this was 10 times more traumatic because this is my niece, this is my baby, this is my sister was a teen mom. Excuse me. And so she's different. It's not a regular niece, you know what I mean? Like, me and her have a connection and a vibe and a whole thing. It's a thing. So it was way crazy to experience what I experienced, I'll tell you guys. And so it's kind of chapped my ass in a big way. And it's kind of weird that it falls on, like, it's in this month, and this month is the Child Abuse Awareness Month. And so, and I am a big advocate of stopping child abuse altogether. I mean, I'm not naive. I understand it won't ever happen. But when I talk about beating your child's ass in the way that I'm going to talk about beating your child's ass, I'm not talking about full on beating your fucking child. Okay? Let's be adults here. But, so what happened? I'm not going to tell exactly what happened to my niece because it's not, she doesn't need to hear this later on in life and be like, oh wow, my aunt told my whole story, because it was already damaging enough. But so I have two nieces. One is my goddaughter. She is also, I call her my niece. So anyway, I have two nieces now who have been jumped, and it's been videotaped and shared across kids and everything else. And both were lured to where their accidents happened, and both were attacked when they turned their back on said little girls. And I don't understand how, for one, as a parent, when you see said video, if your child is the child that is attacking someone, how do you not go beat that kid's ass? That's the ass beating I'm talking about. Because to me, when you have to attack somebody when they turn their back and that's when you feel tough, you're a fucking coward. There is nothing cool about you. There ain't nothing scary about you. You had to wait for me to turn my back before you felt tough. And this is the conversation I've had to have with my nieces. These are not people to be afraid of. These are not little girls that are better than you or cooler than you. They are cowards. They had to wait for you to turn around before they did anything. I don't know if it's because I grew up in the era that I grew up in, but if you're going to fight somebody, toe to toe that shit. If you're going to talk about me, say it to my fucking face. If, like, you know what I mean? And, like, the fact that half of these little kids shit happens, it's not even between the two actual kids the fight is between. It's because some little outsider was like, hey, this person said this. And that's all it starts with. And that's crazy that nowadays children will attack each other and other kids will videotape it and say shit like, beat that bitch, beat that bitch. Fool, you're an accomplice for filming it. I don't know if it's because I have fucking brain cells. I really don't. But you don't videotape a crime. If you're gonna go watch a fight, be a fucking cheerer on the outside. Why are you videotaping it? Because let me tell you now, because my little sister is not just some mom who's going to let her kid get beat up. Oh no. Everybody's getting charges in the situation that occurred. You cannot lure somebody and then think nothing's going to happen to you. You're an accessory, my friend. That's just point blank. That's how it is. You are an accomplice to that crime. You committed a crime yourself. Like, are you kidding me? You don't think nothing's going to happen to you when somebody was attacked and injured, and because you lured them over to where they were where it happened at? No, you got a crime. Sorry, crime. And same with the little kids videotaping it. Like, at least in this situation, if they can find out exactly who did, those kids will be in trouble. But why is it not a conversation? Why is this not something people prepare their children for? My daughter's 8 years old and in second grade, and I've already told her, if somebody does not like you, their whole friend group doesn't like you. You don't associate with those people. You don't talk to those people. You don't go anywhere with those people. You warn your children about strangers, right? Don't talk to strangers. Don't go in a car. Don't go with anybody you don't know. Blah, blah, blah. Why don't you warn them about bullies? Why don't you warn them about vicious ass little kids who are going to go attack your kid for no fucking reason? And you sit there and you say, oh, no, not my kid. She's so sweet and so nice. Both of my nieces are the sweetest children I've ever met in my life. And literally, my one niece, her hobby is dinosaurs. You know what I'm saying? She is a nice, sweet, adorable, precious little baby angel. And I'm not saying that just because I'm her aunt, because if she was a shit, I'd tell you she was a shit, and she's a mouthy little shit. My other niece, she a mouthy little shit. Her fight didn't need to happen, but she mouthy. So, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if your kid is the nicest, sweetest kid. And even if your kid is that kid who does do things a little differently, and they are a little different, and they are kind-hearted, and you sit there and you have that conversation with your spouse, with your friends, with other parents. Oh yeah, I know little Jimmy's gonna get picked on. Oh, I know it. Why are you not preparing little Jimmy then to not get his ass beat and not be a victim? Why are we as parents just sitting there and being like, oh, the school will handle it? Go back to your childhood days and think about how your school went. It didn't change. It hasn't changed much. There's still cliques. There's still bullies. There's still all of it. It all still exists. So why do we not prepare our children? That not only are people going to say really mean things to you, they're going to call you ugly. They're going to tell you no one loves you. They're going to tell you to go kill yourself. They're going to tell you some fucked up shit. You're going to get harassed on Facebook. You're going to prepare them. Why are we just sending them out into the world and then sitting back and wondering why our children kill themselves at 12 years old, at 11 years old? And we just, as parents, we sit there and go, well, I could have said so many things. Why don't we? And I've had this conversation over the last 24 hours with a couple of friends of mine. And they're like, well, I don't want to scare my kid. I don't want to scare them. I don't want to make them afraid of going to school. So you're going to wait till they get beat up, then they're going to be deathly afraid to go there. What is worse? Telling your children the truth of what it will happen to them, and it will happen to them. They can and will fall prey to it. I cannot be the only mother in the world that tells their children the God-honest truth about the world. My 8-year-old knows what murder is about, what child molestation means, and it's not because I'm scaring her of the world. She is not a terrified little girl. She is a very loving, she is very nice to strangers. She still talks to them, even though we have the conversation a million times not to. She can't resist an old lady. Like, my children know I am very blunt with them on the way the world works. I'm not going to put it in an eggshell. I am not loaded with money. I don't come from money. I barely fucking make as much money as I do, and believe me, it's not shit. I make 5 cents off a fucking ad that you guys listen to and my YouTubers don't listen to, so I make nothing off of YouTube. I don't come from a privileged background, and neither do my children. I'm not poor by any means. I mean, I have food on my table, I have a house, I own my home, I own my car, all those great things, but I still don't come from shit, and especially where I live, I know my surroundings. And Idaho Falls isn't full of murders daily or anything like that. But it's still not an easy place when you're not as wealthy and as well off as everybody else around you. And especially if people learn about your past and they learn about your shit and they make fun of you for it. And my children have a grandfather who went to prison for molestation. I had to go through it. I was a fucking bully, and I don't deny it for a minute. But I wasn't a bully until I had to become a bully. And that's the difference. I mean, yeah, in elementary school, I was a fucking dick. I was vicious with my words. I wasn't a violent person until junior high. But, like, I mean, I did beat up one boy, but he was, like, whatever. We won't get into that. But, I wasn't truly violent. Like, in a way where I was out to, like, physically hurt you. I was out to hurt you with my words. And that's only because I had a shitty home. And I admit it. I know. And I tell my daughter, those kids who are being mean to you, they probably don't have a good home. They probably don't have a good home life. And all you can do is still be nice and still be you. And honestly, if one of those kids that I did bully later on in junior high and everything else would have stood up to me and been like, okay, sad guy, you're just a sad guy, I probably would have been shut down. Like, I'm not even kidding. I don't know what I would have done with a legit comeback. They just never had any. And I'm not saying that I was a bully or anything to, like, boost myself or, like, make myself sound cool, because I don't think it was cool. I understand what I did was, and it was fucked up by many levels, and you can't do the whole 2 wrongs make a right. But then it got switched. And then I was the one getting picked on and getting bullied. Like, and it switched at the drop of a dime. Like, my dad was a big part of my junior high. He was a phenomenal wrestling coach. He was a big part of a lot of the kids that I went to schools with lives. They slept over at my house for wrestling tournaments. We had dinner. Every Friday, there was families that we had family dinners with, family vacations. It was a whole thing. So, and he didn't molest some like random kid. It was my older sister, and it was a big shock to everybody. And then my big sister almost killed herself and moved away to Washington. And this all literally happened bing, bang, boom. Like, she wasn't in high school when it happened, like when it came out. And so when she went to, we call it BHC here. When she went to BHC, by the way, pause moment. I have all free rights to talk about this. My sister has given them to me. Back to the story. So when she went to BHC, no one from my school, I was in junior high, knew that she wasn't around. And so, but when it came out and everybody found out that it was one of his daughters, and there's 3 of us there, I have in my blood family, there's 3 girls and 2 boys. And so when it came out, my sister left, and my aunt was moving to Washington. And so my cousin, who was also like me and my cousin always grew up door to door to each other, like next door to each other. And so she was like a sister. an older sister too. And so they left and went to Spokane, Washington. And I was the only daughter remaining besides my little sister. And so immediately in school, it switched. It went, like, I went from being the person everybody was like, oh, she's a bitch, we'll just stay out of her way, to, oh my God, she fucks her dad. She fucked her dad. She fucked her dad. Hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. And I'm sitting there like, what the? No, I didn't, but, like, you know, like, and so I had to. And I say that, and I know that's probably not the right way to look at it, but in my eyes, and it's my way, damn it, it's my podcast, that's how I had to defend myself. And so I literally just got mean. And kids, and that was the shocking thing, is these were kids that, like, in my school, there was an elementary school across the street, and it was in the low income neighborhood. It's not even a school anymore. So I went to Clarigale Junior High, and there was an elementary school across the street. And so everybody that I started at that school in 4th grade. And so everybody that I knew from 4th grade up until this happened, and it was like my 8th grade year. I want to say it was my 8th grade year, because my cousin still went there. So yeah, it was my 8th grade year. So from 4th grade to 8th grade, I knew these people. They were my friends. I was allowed at their homes. They were allowed to come to my house. And it all switched at the drop of a dime. At the drop of a hat. I wasn't allowed at people's houses. People couldn't come over to my house, even though he was already in jail. But they were like, no, they be fucking kids in that house. I don't know what happens over there. We can't go over there. We don't play over there no more. So, like, it was crazy. But if there was video proof that I could go back and watch, I don't know if I could have ever gotten over it, to be honest. If I could go back and watch kids say some shit, or go back and watch one of those fights, I would never feel good about myself. I would never feel good about myself going back and watching myself act like that. And it just shocks the shit out of me that kids think it's cool. Like, that's the cool thing to do. And it just makes me wonder why. Like, why are children falling prey to this, and why are we not warning them? We see it everywhere. We lived it ourselves. I know people that listen to this podcast that are 40 fucking something years old. Just because you're older doesn't mean you didn't go through what you went through to get to where you are. You think your kids are going to judge you because you had some shit happen to you? No, dude, they're going to relate to you and be like, oh shit, they might know. Have you ever thought about that as a parent? If you think back to what you wanted your relationship to be with your parents, and you sat there and your parents said, oh no, Sally, don't go out past dark. You're going to sit there and be like, that bitch don't know. She don't know. It's so much fun after dark. She has no experience. Little does she know, her mom went outside past dark one time and some shit happened to her. She's not going to tell her, I don't want to scare her. I don't want to scare her. The world is so scary. Yeah, it's fucking scary. Protect your fucking children. No one else is going to. And that's another thing that happened in my family, like, recently. I had a family member come to me and try to tell me, protect my kids, because this is happening to my kids. Why the fuck do I have to? What are you doing? Why do people sit by and just let shit happen? And then you're going to sit there and be like, oh, shoulda, coulda, woulda. It is what it is. What kind of fucking life is that? And then there's other shit that happens like this, dude. So this is what's going on in Idaho Falls now. So this is, like I told you, it's a grind my gears. This shit's grinding my gears. So a Rigby man who was accused of killing his 3-month-old son is in jail. And he only gets 100 and he's only sentenced to 3 months in jail and 10 years of probation for killing his son. I'll let that sink in for just a minute. A 3-month-old was murdered by his father, and his dad, who killed him, only gets 3 months in jail and 10 years probation. And you want to know why? The reasoning, you read the article and you're like, well, why? Why? Why would we think it's appropriate to let Mr. Dillon Hunter Butikofer from Rigby, Idaho, who's only 20 years old, who faced charges and pled guilty to felony manslaughter for killing his 3-month-old son, who already had, at the hospital, they found out this child was previously abused. He had already broken his collarbone, a fractured clavicle. I mean, he had some things already. He had previous brain injury. He's 3 months old. And you want to know why we, of the state of Idaho, decided that his 77 days was good enough for time served? Is because, wouldn't you know, when you send people to prison for killing a child, that's not great. Other inmates have a problem with that. And his lawyer said, and they agreed, that when you send people to prison, sometimes it makes criminals out of them. Think you're a fucking criminal when you murder a baby. A baby. And to make it even worse, there has been other murders that have happened here. Oh, and he's also ordered, because this is very important. I mean, we have to know the court fees, because that's just all that matters in the world. He also has to pay $865.50 because it's serious. Because it's a crime to kill a baby, but not serious enough that you should go to prison for it, because that could make you a criminal. Not that you already might be a criminal because you murdered a fucking baby. No, other inmates are going to think poorly of you. I don't know why they would. Maybe it's because you killed your baby. And so they didn't want to cause any more harm to this young man and do any more damage, I guess, because he is so remorseful. And he just feels so bad for what he has done. If you feel so bad and everybody else around is just supporting the hell out of this kid, but you feel so bad, that's enough. I could kill my kid and be like, well, I'm a great person. And the case his lawyer used, he goes, well, this other guy who killed this kid, he didn't go to prison, and he turned his life around. He became a fucking banker. Cool, bro. I'll see you at Wells Fargo. Awesome. Cool. Right on. Are you kidding me? If I go get in my car right now with a loaded bowl and a fucking joint, I'm going to jail. A lot longer than 77 days and 3 fucking months. I'll tell you that right now. I cannot even wrap my head around what has happened in my brain the last 24 hours. It's insane. You have crazy ass kids videotaping people being assaulted because it's funny and acting like hard asses when they're clearly not. And then I wake up and they're like, bam, local news. Jefferson County's full of fucking idiots. And I firmly believe that. Like, are you kidding me? We don't want to make him a criminal and other inmates are going to find it bad? Yeah, Mr. Butikofer, that is exactly what they will do. And do you think that people around here and believe me, from the looks of him, if we're going to judge books by the cover, it ain't so hot. It's not so great. It looks like he is just going to be the greatest person for society. Like, we can't do without this person, I tell you that much. It's insane, people. I don't get it. And people are like, well, kids will be kids. The law is the law. Courts are courts. It doesn't mean we don't have opinions, and it doesn't mean that you don't get to say your opinion. And I want to point out from my YouTube comments on my last thing, I had somebody comment on there, this is why I hate true crime podcasts. They don't do the right research. I'm going to say this for everybody who is now new and listening. I am not the news. I am giving you my thoughts, my opinions from the fucking amendment because I can. And it is your free choice to be an awesome person and listen and support me, or don't. Frankly, I don't notice the less. If you turn it off, it doesn't tell me. So it does not hurt my feelings. Not one little bit. Believe me, I sleep peacefully. I don't care. This is my thoughts and my opinions. My podcast is not called Facts and Headline News. It's called It Is What It Is. Because it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I cannot stand it. I love YouTube. My YouTubers. I love my YouTube followers because you guys follow the shittiest podcast out there, and you love me and I love you. And it's not a shitty podcast, but like literally my YouTube followers don't even get the stupid little intro all of you other people get. They don't get the ad. So it literally jumps into me saying it is what it is. I'm Sean Marie, blah 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 blah. They don't get anything else. And then before, I was recording it in my car. And so you would hear the traffic and the bings and the dings and all the chaos and the shitty microphone on my phone. And I fixed my laptop. And so I'm using my mic again and feeling like a normal person. And so my fans, you guys are the greatest, uniquest group of fucking badass people I've ever met in my life. I get haters sometimes, but I'm not that person who will not comment back. So a lot of people stop being hateful once they're like, oh shit, you read it and you commented back to me and you made me feel like a dick. Then they usually stop. And that's why I hate iTunes. Ooh, I hate iTunes. I don't even check my iTunes anymore. Hate you people. She says fuck. She's bad. Yeah, fuck off. But, you know, I love you guys so much. It's insane. And the fact that I've made it to 625 subscribers on YouTube by myself is amazing. And I had a friend, I get down about my podcast a lot because a lot of like Facebook groups will get recognition for like sharing, like doing their little blog on a crime, and the news stations share it. Everybody's sharing it. Everybody goes crazy. And I'm like, oh, okay, I did that last year. And no one cared. And no one noticed. And no one... Okay. So I do. I get sad. I'm a human being. And when I see people... Like right now, we're doing the post-register voting thing for the best local podcast. I get butthurt when everybody's constantly sharing everybody else's shit and not sharing mine. And like, I know for a fact, only because there is like a major contest going on right now, that a person I've known my whole life who listens to my podcast and another local podcast votes for that podcast and not mine. And it chips my ass. It makes me sad. But then I get over it. I'm a human being. And this friend reached out to me and was like, your shit's organically grown, so be proud of it. And I thought about it for a minute, and it is. I don't do any advertising besides the ad that I do for Anchor that you other lovely listeners get to listen to. And I'm sorry about that. They made me, or else I couldn't use their app anymore. But it's a great app. I love the app. I'm not knocking the app. I love the app. But you guys are amazing. And like, I sit there and I listen to podcasts myself. And you guys are awesome for sticking with me as long as a lot of you have, and going through the ups and the downs and the ghosting you guys and everything else. You guys are amazing. And I've thought about a lot over the last 24 hours, going on to 48 hours. And I thought about this episode a lot because I've had all day. And I found out, I guess, no, but shit, 48 hours. Okay, I found out about that shit yesterday. Anyway, I had a lot of time to think about how I was going to word it exactly. Because when I was going to hop on here and be like, some little bitch-ass bitches. But I didn't. Yeah, I was an angry aunt. And the first part of me was just like, I have a platform and I can use it and I'm going to use it. But I didn't. I thought about it. I smoked a little bit. I chilled. And I was like, all right. Nope, not gonna. And then I got on Facebook and I was like, 3 months. 3 months. Give me my laptop. Give me my damn laptop right now. 3 months. And I just couldn't handle it anymore. And then I sit there and I think about how awesome you guys are. And I just, my heart aches for you guys. I just love all of you. And you guys are amazing. And we're reaching milestones. Some of you guys have been around when I had 15 subscribers 2 years ago. So for you guys to sit here and me tell you guys we've made it to 625 on our own. With you guys being as awesome as you guys are, because obviously you guys are spreading the word, because I'm fucking not. Like I said, I've never been on another podcast. Someone once said they were going to write a news article about me, but once she found out about my dad and my backstory, they knocked the nope. Ain't gonna do it. They didn't do it, and so I've never had anything. And there's like this local Z103 thing that everybody gets on. I've applied for it, and they're like, nope, ain't gonna do it. So obviously, you guys are making me who I am and growing this podcast. You guys are my roots, and I love every fucking one of you. And to all you newcomers, welcome. Welcome to the shit show. It's amazing. And I know a lot of you guys are local because it's from my Jed story. And that was the first time in 2 years of doing this podcast that more than my sister shared it on Facebook. Legit friends were like, hey, for the first time in 2 years, were like, hey, my friend has a podcast. She's awesome. So I cried, and I watched my episodes on Jed skyrocket, and I cried a lot. And it's just amazing from the growth that I've gotten from that and the love that I've gotten from that, because my last episode, I wouldn't say I was nervous to release it, because I wasn't, because once again, it's my podcast. You don't want to listen, you don't have to. I don't pay you. Please feel free to not be here. Just because his private investigator did have such high opinions and thoughts, which I will not say he was wrong for. So if you're here this episode to hear me say that he was a bad guy for his thoughts and his opinions, I'm not going to. I will still work with him. I will still share his cases, and I will still do everything I can to help him, because that's just, dude's done nothing wrong to me. His thoughts are his thoughts. His opinions are his opinions. And he doesn't have to like another group if he doesn't have to. He's a grown-ass man. So if you're here for that, that's not going to happen. So I was scared of it a little bit. And it didn't really, I mean, there was a lot of people who were like, fuck that PI. And talking about how good the people are who found Jed. And I mean, the AWP, yep, AWP, them people, which I still have not watched their show, and it's not because I'm hating, I just haven't gotten around to it. People have sent me a bunch of like links to go and watch their stuff, and I'm going to. I just started a new job. Get off of me. But I have not yet, so I cannot sit here and say that I like them or anything else. And I cannot sit here and say I do not like them, because that is not the case. I literally just thought it was shady as hell. That was my whole thing. I just felt shady about the situation, and so I reached out to him. We had our talk, blah, blah, blah. Case goes on. So, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to let you guys know that I love you and I appreciate you. And teach your damn children about these bullies, man. If you want a good show to watch, it's a good show, but like, I don't cry because I'm a broken human being in many ways. It takes a lot for me to cry, or This Is Us, because I'm still human. And that show's amazing. But I use it to cry. I do. I'll admit that. Even reruns, I will use them to make me cry. And it works like a charm. But once the faucet is on, it does not stop. And I'm a sad little puss for a couple days. But I'm a very broken individual. So the show Bully on Netflix. Oh my God. So sad. So sad. And like, I don't know if it's because like a part of me wishes it wasn't a documentary, only because it's just like nature documentaries. I had a very, very lovely person point this out to me too. Because I'm like, it's fucked up because they're filming this documentary about bullies and they're not stopping the bullying, right? They're just filming it. They're like, it's just like the other kids, but this is like a documentary, right? Air quotes. So it's okay. Air quotes. And I'm like, they should stop it though. Like, they're just watching it happen and not telling anybody it's happening. And they're like, okay, but in nature documentaries, do you stop the baby lion from getting eaten? And I couldn't make a documentary because I would be the person acting up, go baby, get away from that baby. Like, I'd save a baby lion. That's not nice. And it's just like the fucking don't fuck with cats people. No one gave a fuck that dude was murdering fucking people and chopping up people and taking them out in body bags. They were like, he killed a cat. We draw the line at felines. Ain't happening here. And they solved a crime. It's a good one though. The bully one is a good one. It's very sad. It will make you cry. And if you don't cry, you're darker than I am. And then in that case, we should truly be friends. Like on a personal level. And a lot of I've let some fans in onto like my Instagram because my Facebook is very private. And so like I let you guys in if we vibe, you know? Because I love you guys. And a lot of you guys, I'm like, yeah, we for real friends. Yeah, we friends. But yeah, that's my episode for this week. Just a bunch of nonsense, really. And just a bunch of questions of why the fuck. Why? So just notes to tell yourself. Tell your children if they're being bullied, never go alone with those people's friends. Never associate with their friends. If that one person doesn't like them, their whole friend group does not like them. Don't let your children become a victim. If we can stop it at home, we will not be shocked when the school system fails us into protecting our children. Because honestly, it's like a daycare. They don't want to fucking babysit our goddamn kids. They don't. They want to teach them and go home. They don't give a fuck that Sally and Susie hate each other. That's Sally and Susie. They'll handle that shit outside of school. We don't care. It is our jobs as parents to protect our children from the little kids who don't get the hugs and the loves they need at home. Okay? Just remember that for this week. That is it. I love every fucking one of you. Again, you guys are amazing. I could not do it without you guys. And I'm just so thankful for every one of you. And I love you guys. Have a great week.